Okay.
Today we have Tara Brasfield who will be joining us, who will be talking about the college admissions process. And I believe it's pretty timely since Common App opened and people are starting to finalize their college applications. Tara is an experienced admissions and assistant admissions director with demonstrated interest, history of working in higher education. So yeah, you could have the stage.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Tara Brasfield. I am in our wonderful college admissions industry, and I'm here to discuss with all of the prospective students that are here who are planning on attending college. There's a lot of information that you need to know prior to you moving forward. But first and foremost, I want to let you all know that admissions representatives are there to assist you. They are not there to make decisions on your behalf or your parents, okay? They actually work for you. There's a lot of information for students with regard to, different colleges, their protocols, how they enroll, how you matriculate through the process and become a graduate. But the ultimate goal is for you to be authentic in your choices and make your own responses based on your own desires. Okay, so the best move, I believe, would be to do a lot of research on your colleges and the programs that you desire. Now, doing the research entails you looking at what it is that you desire to, become. If you want to be a biologist, okay, well, then you need to look into science programs at different colleges. Some students nowadays, most students nowadays from different walks of life, they decide whether or not they want to choose universities or the traditional route of going to Ivy League colleges, things like that, or going to career colleges. But your goal is to make sure that you are prepared by doing your research. The reason why you want to do all of this research is because this is going to be your life after high school, okay? And even still, after college, you're going to want to work in the field where you've, graduated, correct? So you want to make sure you do this research and communicate the information to your parents or your legal guardians. And I say both because there are some students that are not raised by their parents, but they may have a legal guardian like a grandparent or even a friend who has custody of them while they're in high school. There is a difference, and it's going to make a world of a difference when you get ready to enroll in college, okay? I know that a lot of you are probably a little apprehensive, and that's okay. And it's, it's the norm. It's the norm. I mean, it's always the fear of the unknown, correct? So you want to make sure that, you're prepared. Okay. College is not for the faint of heart. I will tell you that much. It's not easy for anyone. In fact, when I was getting my doctorate, there were many times I cried, many times, but I knew that, what I was going through was going to make a difference in my life. So I had to push forward. I couldn't give up. And that was, that was it. You have to do the same thing. Okay. All right. So choosing your focus or your major. Some of you may choose to get into the sciences. Some of you may choose to get into the arts. There is a difference in classes. If you decide, for example, you would like to get into, let's say, become a medical doctor, okay? Your goal is not to allow an admissions rep to talk you into an arts degree, okay? That's something you have to understand. College admissions representatives do not get paid a commission for enrolling students at all. We get paid no matter if you're in college or no matter if you're not, okay? So if you are focused on becoming a medical doctor and you want to, let's say, I don't know, become an OBGYN or a proctologist or dermatologist, your focus should be the sciences. It's very important. Do not let an advisor talk you into doing an associate of arts starting out, or if you're going straight into a university, don't let them talk you into any type of Bachelor of Arts program, okay? You need to focus on the sciences. It's very important. Admissions representatives are also known to be salespeople. Where I work, we do not do that. We do what is in the betterment of the student, no matter what. If anything unethical is being done, that person will be relieved of their job, okay? And we make no bones about it. We definitely do it, okay? Certificate of diplomas or career colleges. If you choose to go to a career college, that's fine. That's fine. You will pay differently than what you would pay if you went to a university or a community college starting out. Okay, there are different trades for certificate of diplomas like surge tech or dental hygienist, medical assisting, LPNs, HVAC, professionals, which is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, which also leads people to find their niche and then transition into a field higher than that. So you have different choices. If you're looking at solely focusing on universities, definitely do your research. It's nothing wrong with going to a university, just make sure that you can handle the workload. Most students after high school prefer to work and make money, or they have to because they have loved ones that they're taking care of, and that's okay as well. And that's why some students generally go to career colleges, and it's just an easier way to get moved into a field a little faster, and but they're going to pay a little bit more than what they would do if they were at a state funded college. Okay, all right, just to let you know, education is amazing. Okay, a lot of people think that when you go into college that you're going to come out making all this great money and it's going to be beautiful and oh, your life is going to be perfect. No, that's not the case. But the statistics from the educationdata.org and from bls.gov will tell you that the more education you have, the less likely you'll be unemployed. So it's ideal and it's vital for you to definitely get into a field that you're going to be able to thrive and enjoy. My grandmother, when I was growing up, used to tell me all the time that if you really love what you do, it's not considered work. Do we all agree? I certainly do. I can tell you that. I enjoy every bit of my job because I'm able to change lives. Now, my husband and I are very well, we're good. We don't make, I can tell you right now, we don't make less than $100,000 a year. And that is because we invested in our future when we needed to in order to transition into the lifestyle that we wanted to have. And a lot of people don't understand, and they're a little fearful about student loan debt, but you have to pay for what you get. Now, does anybody own a car? Can you unmute? I want to hear, does anybody own a car?
Nope.
No? Okay, well, I don't know how it is up there up north, but we in Florida, I can tell you a lot of kids own their own vehicles, and they'll pay $40,000 and $50,000 for a really nice car, but they won't spend $40,000 or $50,000 on an education. But if you look at the data here, it clearly states that the more education you have, you're definitely going to grow. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I mean, when you go to college, your goal is not to be broke. Am I not correct? The goal is to make money and to be able to live and be self-sufficient, because you're going to grow up, you're going to have children, you're going to get married, you're going to own a home. You have to be able to live and pay for your lifestyle. So it's a good thing for you to go to college. Okay. So I can tell you right now that 50% of students who are enrolling in college after this high school year, they will not make it. They will not complete. Okay. Most students who actually attend college for the first time, they have family members that have already, received their degrees, and they're successful. They're CEOs, they're, directors of, of an institution somewhere. And non-traditional college students, those are what I call first-time graduates. So they're going to be first-generation graduates. They actually have parents who have never been to college, but they've kind of, made their life, okay, and it's okay the way they live. It's the problem is you never really get out of that rut. And, if you're not going to, like I said earlier, if you're not going to actually focus on getting your education, don't try it. If you attend college, 2 different colleges, over the course of your lifetime, without graduating and without getting any credits, I can tell you right now, the Department of Education will deem you as an unusual education history, and you will have to prove that they should give you funding in order to attend college. There are a lot of, legalities that go, with attending college. So you want to make sure that your first choice is actually going to stick. Okay. Now, public versus private institutions. Okay, so there are benefits for attending community colleges. Okay, you're going to pay cheaper tuition. That's just how it is because it's state funded. You can attend universities. If you are in state, is everyone from the same area that is attending?
I would say we're mostly from the New York City area.
New York City area. Okay. So if you are an in-state, student applying to NYU, I'm just going to throw that out. You'll get in-state tuition, which is cheaper. Okay. However, if you decide, okay, I want to go to University of Florida, or I want to go to Harvard, you're going to pay out-of-state tuition, and it's going to be much more expensive. Okay. The differences between private colleges versus community colleges is a lot different as well. Private colleges cost more. Okay, so for instance, we have a community college here, Florida State College of Jacksonville, and they do have a surgical technology program, which is an Associate of Science degree. That program through that community college is actually $24,000 roughly. Okay, but if you go to a private for-profit college, similar to Fortis College or Florida Career College, Concord, you're going to pay about $40,000 for it. Okay, they're shorter in terms of length, and they may have protocols in place for private for-profit colleges where you could actually get into a program without a GED or a high school diploma. And they have had this done over the course of so many years. You would take a test and you would be admitted into this program. And while you're doing this program, you can also work on your high school diploma. Some of these colleges do work that way. However, if you go in already with a high school diploma or a GED, then you're okay, you're accepted. That's the only thing that can, keep you from attending, is if you do not have a standard high school diploma. And also, I'm not sure if any of the students that are here on this during this presentation, if any of you have learning disabilities. those are also things that you have to make sure that on your diploma, it does not state exceptional or special. If it states either of these things, then you will likely have to go get a GED. Do not let someone tell you something that is not true, because we've had a lot of students here in the state of Florida that have graduated with exceptional and special diplomas, and they were denied admissions into every single college. So they were at the mercy of getting a GED. And it was very difficult for them because some people do have learning disabilities. You know, it is what it is. I mean, if you're dyslexic, you have to work harder than the average student. And sometimes it can be a little challenging, but definitely focus on these 3 different colleges that, you know, may be able to help you transition into a field a lot easier if you need to, okay? All right, so the first thing you want to do is do your research, obviously. And let's say you choose you want to attend New York University. Your first task is to notify the admissions department, okay? You want to definitely reach out to college admissions and tell them that you're interested in attending this particular college. If so, you're going to schedule a date and time to go out and meet with them, but now during the pandemic, they'll probably do it all online. I will tell you, it's a lot more challenging to reach out to universities and state-funded colleges in order to get them to, you know, get you scheduled for an appointment. For whatever reason, I have no idea, but it is happening. I have no idea why. For me, when a student contacts our institution, I meet with the student on Zoom. Okay, we do everything through Zoom. If they want to enroll, we enroll through Zoom and email. Okay, so make sure that, you know, you're reaching out to them, telling them, look, I'm interested in this. I would like to schedule a date and time. Maybe we can do a tour, and they should be able to send you links. If not, if they're already inviting people onto the campus to tour, then definitely do that. And make sure your parents are with you because you're going to need them. Okay. All right. So a lot of people have this misconception that you go into an educational institution, then you say, hey, I just want to enroll and get my bachelor's degree. Okay, what do you want to do? You have to be specific. If you want to be a biologist or, you know, I don't know, a physician's assistant, you have to ask your advisors to be very transparent with you. If not, they are definitely going to take advantage of you. Like I said, admissions reps are generally salespeople. So you want to tell them, you don't ask them everything. You can ask them questions, but definitely do not let them make the decisions for you. This is your life you're talking about. Okay, your life is in your hands. You have to make these decisions. And it's crucial that you are happy, okay? I don't want you to be hesitant. I want you to be excited because this is a milestone for you. I remember when I graduated from high school, and let me tell you, the hardest thing I could figure out was, what do I want to do with my life? What do I want to do? This is before I got married, before I had children. I'm thinking I'm in this, you know, I feel like I'm in this abyss and I can't get out. And I had no help. My parents were just like, oh, okay, whatever you want to do. But that didn't help me. I needed somebody to actually support me and to figure out, you know, what my niche was. But the honest to God truth, I had to find that out. I had to figure that out. So those were the things that I brought to my advisor. And if it were not for the advisor that I had, I probably would not be in admissions today, because she really mentored me. When I told her, okay, I want to become a doctor, and at first I did, I wanted to become a medical doctor. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to change again. I think I want to become a psychologist. And then I changed again, and I like research. So I became a social psychologist in the end. And I'm in my 50s, mind you. So this was in my, I think I was like 19 or 20 when I met with her. And bless her heart, I mean, she really did push me to be everything that I wanted to be. Okay. And she told me the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's why I'm giving you all of the good, the bad, and the ugly, ahead of time, because you deserve it. You are actually going to be the future of wherever you're going, the future of your family. You have to be leaders in your communities, and you can't get there unless you have somebody to help you nourish that and push you through. Okay. Now, if you're speaking to an admissions representative and you feel as though, they're just kind of blowing you off, or they're just trying to tell you anything to get you in, I will tell you this much: stop what you're doing and ask to get a business card of their supervisor. And then you and your parents will talk to them. Okay. Or to that person, because you want to make sure that you're getting everything you need up front. And you don't want what I call fluff. Fluff is just the extra stuff. Okay. Fluff is the stuff you do not want to have. You want direct questions answered, and you don't want any fluff. You don't want the extras. You want to know, what is it going to take for me to become a biologist? Okay, then we're going to talk about science. We're going to talk about the science classes. So everything that you would need to take in order to complete your bachelor's will be, will be set forth. Okay. Now, this is one of the most controversial things I talk about with anybody wanting to go to college, because a lot of students don't realize your parents or legal guardian, like I spoke about earlier, will have to sign for you to attend. Okay. Now, let's talk about subsidized and unsubsidized loans. Okay, these loans are here to assist you with moving through your, degree program. Okay. Or attending colleges, as well as Pell Grants. Pell Grants are not paid back to the government. So you will get a combination of Pell Grants if you qualify, or if your family qualifies. Now, let me explain subsidized and unsubsidized. One actually has the interest paid while you're attending college, and the other one does not. So the one that's getting the interest covered the entire time that you're in college will capitalize at the end. Meaning, if you've accrued, let's say $15,000 worth of interest, it shows up at the end of your, graduation year. 6 months after you graduate, that's when it shows up in your bill. Okay. But the others, Pell Grants, do not accrue interest, whereas subsidized loans, you'll end up having them combined. Pell Grants are made to help you get through your program. Do not abuse it by using only Pell Grants to attend college. And I'll tell you why. Pell Grants, you are only allowed 600% over your college life. Okay. You do not qualify for a Pell Grant after you have received a bachelor's degree. So if you decide, I want to attend New York University on solely Pell Grants, you will run out of money. And then when it comes time for you to finish your program, you will not have any money because you've abused your Pell Grant status. Okay. A lot of people do that, and they are misinformed. When you end up utilizing all of your Pell Grants, which is money that is not paid back to the government, it's just given to you to help offset the cost. So if you abuse that over time, and let's say your first term, let me make it a little more clear. Let's say your first term in class is going to cost $1,400, but you qualified for a $5,000 Pell Grant. Okay. So they're going to cover the $1,400 cost. And then in the end, they're going to give you the refund. Okay. Literally send you the money in your bank account, or they'll send you a check, whichever. And you're going to say, oh my gosh, I have all this money. That is not to be used to play around with. Okay, you should use it for your living expenses. You should use it for your books. You should use it for tuition, upcoming future tuition. Never ever abuse your Pell Grant status, because when you run out of it, you will wish you had it. Otherwise, you will not be able to finish your programs. So you want to use subsidized and unsubsidized loans along with Pell Grants in combination, so that it will, help you get through your program and you won't have so much left over to pay. Okay. Now, there are programs that are designed to help with your repayment terms. Now, a lot of people don't realize this, but when you get into college and you have, let's say, $100,000 in student loan debt, okay, and you just can't afford it. You get out of college, but you've got a great job. You're making about $50,000 a year. And after you pay your rent, your car payment, your insurance, utilities, and buy food, you don't really have enough to pay it. Okay. So you can contact your lender, or you can go through studentloans.gov and you can sign up for one of the repayment options that they have available. It's called, one of them is income-based repayment. It goes based on how much money you make and how many people are in your household. So if 10 years down the line, you still find that you can't afford this, you can't afford your payment, you can still remain on the income-based repayment plan as long as it is in effect, okay? Now, right now with the politicization of education and things like that through the Department of Education, it's better that you take advantage of it as soon as possible. If they decide to withdraw those repayment programs, then you're going to be left with paying your bill. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions with regard to financial aid? If you do, just unmute your mic. Okay. So also, parents do have to sign for their children to attend college. I said it earlier. Parents are vital in the process of you being enrolled in college. Without your parents, you're not going to get enough money to attend. So this is how it works. If you do not meet certain criteria, meaning you have to be 24, have your own children that you take care of, okay, more than 50% of the time, pay your own bills, get married, join the military or the reserves. If you do not meet any of those criteria, then you are deemed a dependent student. And you will be dependent until you meet those, either one of those criteria, okay? If you join the military immediately after high school, and let's say something happens where you get really sick, so you had to come home and they had to discharge you from the military and you're only 20, you're still going to be dependent, okay? So you have to make a decision as to, do you want to use your parents? Your parents' pay and income make a difference on how much you qualify for with regard to Pell Grants. Pell Grants are only based on need, okay? So if your parents are making, let's say $40,000 each, your mom and your dad together, and it's you and you have a little brother at home, and that's a household of 4 people, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to qualify for a Pell Grant. Okay. So Pell Grants, will be out the door for you if that's your scenario. Now, however, there is also a Parent Plus loan that your parents can sign. And if they choose to sign it, do not let financial aid tell you it's a soft pull on your credit. It is a hard pull. So even if you're buying a house, I had to do it for all 4 of my children. The requirement is the parent has to, complete the Parent Plus loan. Once they complete it, if they are approved, they can decline it. If they decline it, then all of the responsibility for student loans go to you as the student. So that means everything will fall under you. You will sign every document, okay, as long as you're 18, okay, or older. If you happen to be 17, your parents, regardless, have to sign for you, okay? That's just the law. All right. So has anybody been applying for scholarships? Looking for scholarships? Let me tell you, there are very few legitimate websites, very few. Okay, I see chats, yay. Okay, so I'm gonna answer all of your questions at the end, okay? I promise, I promise, I promise, I promise, okay? But applying for scholarships, let me tell you, when you're applying for scholarships, there are very few legitimate websites. This one is a legitimate website. I applied for 4 different scholarships and I received all 4 of them through this website, okay? So applying for scholarships is fun, it's easy, it's exciting, but you have to be an enrolled student. So you have to find a college, you have to be enrolled in order to prove that they are giving this money for you or to you for or on your behalf to attend college. You have to make sure that you are enrolled. You have to understand that, okay? See if you have twins going to college at the same time, will the Pell loans also be out the door if you make a certain amount of money? Twins going to college at the same time and you're the parents? Okay, so if you're the parent and you have twins going to college at the same time, the Pell Grants go for each student. It's not one amount and then they split it. It's all for one student and then you'll have another Pell Grant for another student. Okay, even if they attend the same college, it'll still be the same way. They treat the students as individuals, okay? So you'll still be able to do that, okay? You won't run, you'll be fine with regard to doing that. It doesn't work that way where they just say, hey, she's got twins, so we're gonna penalize her and make her split the Pell Grant. It doesn't work that way, okay? They will consider your twins to be each an individual, okay? No problem, no problem. Okay, so Department of Education, expectation of parents and legal guardians. I can't stress enough that your parents will need to help you attend college. It is vital for them to do it. If not, you will not be able to go to college until you're either 24 and, taking care of yourself on your own. Parent Plus loans, like I stated, are an integral part of the financial aid process. It will pull your credit. So if you're buying a house at that time and you decide, hey, let me tell my daughter Ashley, she can't attend college right now because I want to close on this house, it ultimately hurts her, okay? So, make sure all of your taxes are filed. Make sure that you have access to them. And even if you're divorced or separated, the best thing I can tell you is if you have parents who are divorced or separated, you want to use the one that does not make more money than what is necessary. So if you have dad that makes $100,000 and mom makes $105,000, you definitely want to go with dad, but it doesn't really matter because $100,000 is over the threshold for what Department of Education considers eligible for Pell, okay? But let's say you have a family of, you have maybe mom stays home or mom's on disability and she's not able to really, she thinks that maybe her lack of income will not help her to help you. It doesn't work that way. The less money, the better it is for you. Okay, so if both of your parents are making over 100 grand, they're not going to get Pell for you. That's just not it. But if you by yourself are of legal age to apply and be qualified on your own, you would qualify if you're not making more than 24,000. I know 24,000 is really not a lot of money. A lot of colleges also are yellow ribbon schools, and yellow ribbon schools also, they accept VA benefits. If you have parents who are veterans, they may opt to transfer benefits to you. I myself used my husband's post 9/11, and I absolutely loved it. It actually paid for a lot of my doctoral program. Chapter 35, a lot of them will accept that too. The goal is to make sure that if you have parents that are veterans, you want to choose a college. If your parent that is the veteran is transferring the benefits to you, you want to make sure that the college is a yellow ribbon school, because you want to be able to utilize that. Okay. Post 9/11, you can use up to 3 years and it'll pay for everything. Okay. The goal is not to abuse it though. And let me explain why I say that. When you're receiving VA benefits, either post 9/11 or chapter 35 or chapter 33, whichever, if you're receiving VA benefits and it's covering the cost of your tuition, you do not want to have a FAFSA completed and accepting funding, Title IV funding, which are student loans from the government at the same time. The reason being is once the VA benefit comes in, it covers your tuition. Then the FAFSA's, the money from the Department of Ed is going to come in. It's going to cover, and you're going to have an overage, and they're going to send you that as a refund. Okay, if you do that, you're going to owe. You're going to still have student loans. Okay, in the end to pay back, and it's not going to be beneficial for you. Your goal is when you get out of school that you're able to afford your monthly payments, right? You don't want to overextend yourself, especially if you're a new professional getting into a new field. It's just, it's counterproductive, and it stresses you out, and you'll have more debt than what you thought. It just doesn't make any sense. So definitely make the right decisions with regard to that. Again, like I stated, managing your student loan debt. Do not use more than what you need, okay? If you're getting, if you're utilizing Title IV funding, which are student loans and Pell Grants, to cover the cost of your attendance, and you have just a little bit left over, maybe $1,000, they'll still give it to you, but it's up to you to use it to your benefit. So if you're living in a dorm and you're, while you're attending college and you need to buy food, you can do that with that $1,000, right? But it is not for you to utilize to go buy a car. It is not for you to utilize to take your friends out and go out for a night on the town. You have to definitely use that money for what it's intended to be used for, okay? Because once you use it all up, you'll end up paying out of pocket, trust me, okay? Now, I talked to you about not hopping from school to school earlier, and I'm not sure if you have questions about it, but I will talk more to you in depth, more in depth with you about it. If you college hop just for the sake of getting a refund, you're going to be known as a stipend chaser, and the Department of Education will cut you off completely from receiving any funding once you finally wake up in your 30s and you say, hey, I think I want to go to college now that I have 3 children, I'm married, I really need to do something to better myself. And then when you try, they will shut you down. So make sure you're making the decisions that you need to make now the right way. Don't mess up in the beginning, because you have this to your advantage to be able to use to help you get through, so that you're not actually living, badly. You know, you want to make sure that you're comfortable and that your children are eating and your bills are paid. But, you know, if you abuse this, it's right now, I'm telling you, it's not, I do not advocate that at all. Utilize those funds for what they're for. Okay. All right. So self-motivation. I will tell you that getting into college is fun. It's exciting. There's a lot of anxiety. However, you could become very depressed because if you're not the type of person that is able to kind of thrive in your own environment or self-motivate yourself, you know, when times get hard and if you're away from your family, let's say you choose to study abroad and you're away from your family and you just can't, you know, kind of get out of that funk. I'm going to tell you right now, it's better to go to college with, you know, a buddy. It's better. If you have friends that are going to college and you have the same goals, the same goals, stick together and push each other and motivate each other to get through. Okay? Because in the end, I told you earlier, 50% of you will not make it. Okay, you want to get involved, you want to get into study clubs, you want to get into political clubs if you like politics, working part-time, being able to interact with other people of the same age and the same, you know, visions in life. Those can all alleviate some of the stressors of you attending college when you're away from your family. But if you choose to stay home, that's fine too. That's not saying that you can't make it or you can't hack it, you're a failure. It doesn't mean that. It just means it's a lot easier for you to do it. And if it means you thriving in your college program, then so be it. Okay? But either way, you want to make sure that you're not overwhelming yourself. You know, if you're not that good in math, please do not choose a field that you want to get into that requires a lot of math, a lot of calculus, a lot of physics, geometry. Don't do it because you'll overwhelm yourself and then you'll be back at square one where I said 50% of people will not make it. You want to make sure you're choosing realistically the programs that you know for a fact you could do this, okay? You can push yourself a little bit, but when you overwhelm yourself, you drop out completely and you never look back. And how many of us have been through this before, where you've pushed yourself to do something, saying you could do it, and then all of a sudden you're just like, forget it, I'm just going to back out. You know, a lot of people do it. A lot of people do it. Okay, nobody's perfect. All right, so any questions?
We actually saw in the chat there's a question from like earlier. It says, can you name a couple of career colleges?
Yes. Are you talking about in my area? They are all over the US, trust me. There's Education Affiliates has Fortis College. IEC has Florida Career Colleges. Up there in your area, there's the Center for Allied Health Education Schools, and I believe it is CAHES. That's the acronym for it, and they are located in New York. Okay, there are colleges that are not state funded, like University of New York. You know, that you just need to do your research on. When you get the literature on the college, you want to make sure that you're looking it up and you're doing all of your research on it. Okay. Any questions? Drop in the hat or unmute. Okay, what are your opinions on attending undergrad at one university and transferring to another for grad school? For example, a cheaper place for undergrad and a state or national college for grad school. I don't think there's a problem with that. I'll be honest with you. I did the same thing. I attended San Diego State University, but because we were a military family, we were up for orders and we relocated to Tampa. And guess what? I was going to have to repeat a lot of my classes. So I opted to attend an online college for grad school, and I completed my doctorate there. Next question, let's see. Oh, would it be more advantageous to attend one university for the entire academic career? Well, it could go either way. One thing I will tell you is if you like the college that you're at and you don't need to relocate, stay with it. Stick it out. And I'll tell you why. It's because if you stick with the same college, you will not be placed in the situation that I was in when I attended San Diego State and then we relocated. I had to end up making a choice. Do I want to lose all of these credits that I, acquired, or do I want to just keep them and go to a different college? Well, I decided to keep them and go to a different college because why would I repeat the same class I've already taken? So if you're comfortable where you're at, stick it out. Okay, if you do not have to move or relocate under military orders. So, I would say that that's a case by case basis. I would not say that it's better for you to change and go to a different grad school, but if it's easier for you to reach your goals, then do it. With COVID-19 canceling PSAT and SAT testing date, Miami, how are the colleges now taking those scores or lack of scores into consideration? I don't know why they've canceled it. I believe that they're rescheduling people for it. And I'll tell you why. It's because they're able to at least adhere to social distancing. Miami, number one, is one of the hotspots for COVID. So they are, from what I was told and what I had read, that they are going to start rescheduling people for those tests. And they are going to have a minimum of 10 people in a room at a time where they can still adhere to social distancing. And with Governor DeSantis reopening the economy here in the state of Florida, I believe that's going to happen. I don't think you'll have any problems with being able to take the testing. However, if you do have problems, the lack of scores, a consideration, those SAT and PSAT scores only apply to state-funded colleges. It does not apply to career colleges. In fact, if you attend a career college, I will tell you that we don't care anything about SAT scores because it doesn't matter. We cannot deny you for, enrollment. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you've done it or if you haven't. Now, if you're going to go to University of Florida, UF, then yes, your SAT scores will matter. Okay, next question. What do you mean, Lena?
Like, I mean, student organizations like Key Club or debate team for like mock trial.
Okay, so it doesn't look good and it doesn't look bad to admissions. It just shows that, you were a very active student. I will tell you that once you are accepted into a college or a university, and you decide you want to get into a particular club, that will then come into play for you. But with regard to admissions is only focused on getting you enrolled to begin your academic career. Okay. Next question is from Sophia. When attending college, how do you build up your resume while studying your major to prepare for employment after college once you get your degree? Also, how do you look for internships? Okay, so attending college, how do you build your resume? If you are trying to become a veterinarian, okay, and you're in veterinarian school, and you are working, let's say, or volunteering at the Humane Society, you have to make your resume, job specific, okay? So if you're applying to other jobs after you leave college, that those volunteer hours matter, and they do, especially for certain fields like that. okay? If you are trying to get into the medical field and you're going for registered nursing or physician's assistant, the only things that I can tell you with regard to those is that you're going to get picked up no matter what. You just have to complete your clinical hours and you have to do a residency, okay? So that's all gonna play a part in what goes on your resume. So your advisor, your academic advisor, should help you with tailoring your resume to fit the job that you're looking to get into, okay, or the career, okay? But looking for internships is not, it's not that hard. The schools generally, and when I say schools, I'm talking about all schools, career colleges, as well as private for-profit, as well as universities, they will all help you with getting an internship. There is a difference between an internship and an externship. Let me explain the difference. Excuse me. Internships you will get paid for, okay? You actually go through the process of interviewing for a particular job, and these people will actually sit down and interview you, and they'll ask you those questions that you don't like to answer, like, tell me a little bit about yourself. The goal is to make sure that you land this particular position where you are getting into this field, okay? But if they choose not to hire you, ask them if you could volunteer, okay? So you can always do that, and it's a win-win, you know, if you're not looking to make the money. I mean, everybody wants to make money, and that's great. But if you could get away with volunteering your time, a little bit of time, you know, a few hours a week, you know, just to get into a field of your dreams, then definitely do it. It's a win-win. But looking for internships are all the process of the colleges, okay, and universities. So make sure you reach out to their career services departments, see what they can do to help you. However, externships, definitely, you do not get paid for them. It's almost like volunteering your time. However, it's not. So let me tell you the flip side of the coin. Externships are nothing more than a working interview. So you're going to go to a particular place to do an externship, okay? You're going to work and you're going to showcase your skills. And then hopefully at the end, they'll say, hey, you know what? I want to hire her. I want to hire him. He was amazing. He did this just perfect. And that's what an extern is. It's not the same as an internship. All right. Externships are usually assigned from your program directors or your advisors. Okay, so make sure that you reach out to them when you get closer to nearing the end of your program. That's exactly what you want to do. You want to start looking for internships and externs. Okay. All right. So is it a good idea if choosing performing arts as a major at a college, should students also consider a minor? You can consider a minor. What would be the minor, Miriam? Is it related to performing arts? Okay, so performing arts it's great, but let me tell you something. If you're going to choose a major of performing arts, make sure that your minor kind of complements it, okay? Because what's going to go on your degree is performing arts. It is very difficult to get into a really good field with a performing arts degree. Okay, so you want to make sure that you are prepared. If I were you, I would choose business or history as a major and performing arts as your minor. Because performing arts really, I mean, how can you actually equate performing arts into a field that you're going to be, you know, happy in and make money? The whole goal for you to go to college is not just to go through the motions of going to college, it's for you to have a career at the end. So you want to make sure you're choosing a major that is going to complement your minor and vice versa, okay? Shane says, would you consider taking a gap year? I don't understand. A gap year, a wise choice this year? You mean taking off for a year and then going to college? Is that what you're talking about, Shane? Okay. Is there a reason for it? In what sense? Okay. So extracurricular or academic, if you're going to do it for those reasons, then that's fine. I don't advise anyone to take a year off before you go to college because you're going to get comfortable. You're going to get very comfortable and you're not going to want to go to college. Okay. If you're already in the mode of studying and testing and graduating, you want to stay in that mindset. Psychologically, we believe that, we'll get back to it. I'm going to take a year off. We're going to get back to it. And then what happens is you go on with life and life changes yours. And then you end up, you may end up married, you may end up with children, and then it's going to delay your ability to be able to enroll and complete college. So, a lot of things happen when you take a year off. You just have to kind of, yourself better than anyone, but you have to kind of weigh your options. If it's extracurricular, okay, great, but you can go part-time. Or academic, I don't understand academic wise, but if you're just taking off because you want to start at a certain time, because you want to get into a particular, program first, then that's fine. But just to take off a year and not apply your knowledge or keep your mind moving forward is not, it's not a good idea. Sophia says, tips on networking in universities with professors, advisors, etc. I'm not the most social person and not used to networking. Well, Sophia, I'm so sorry to hear that. Networking is how you're going to get around nowadays in the 21st century. I know that you're a bit shy, but think of it this way. What kind of ideas have you chosen in order to get into college? What kind of focus are you looking at? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I'm talking about, like, what do you want to study? Okay. So criminal justice or something related to psychology, phenomenal field. One thing I will tell you, I know you're not very social right now, but how are you going to be social if you're going to be in criminal justice or psychology? Are you talking about psychology in a clinical sense where you're meeting with patients? You still have to talk to patients, and criminal justice, you still have to talk to people. You do. So you have to kind of get over that fear. Unfortunately, it's, I know it's exciting. In fact, after I, went through 14, 15 years worth of college, I sat back and I thought about it and I was like, why didn't I do forensic psychology? I love forensic psychology, but I'm not nervous about talking to people. I'm very social. My husband's a little different than I am. He's very, laid back. He's not really a talkative person, but it is what it is. You have to kind of get out of that. And that's part of growing up and becoming an adult. You want to make sure that, you're able to kind of, stand your ground, especially criminal justice. Especially, and not only that, keep in mind that is a male dominated field. So you have to stand your ground. You can't be non-sociable, Okay. I know it's a little scary, but you kind of got to get out of that comfort zone. All right. But my suggestion would be to talk to people to get over that fear. Reach out to them. Okay. And try to see about getting your internship. Okay. All right. So let's see. Now with COVID, I hear a lot of schools are doing virtual tours. Yes, Miriam, yes. I do virtual tours with my students, and we are still screening. We wear face masks if they decide to come in. Um, if they want to see more, then I invite them in. I don't advise you to do that. It's, we're coming up on the second round of COVID, but, if you want to, look at virtual tours, then that's fine. I'm okay with that. Shane says, do optional in application materials really mean it? Optional. Can you elaborate on that? Well, it depends on what it is. So are you talking about, like, it says optional for you to provide, I don't know, an identification card? Or what are you referring to? Writing supplement. You mean about why you want to attend the college? Okay, so there are some people that have to write, not a manuscript, but I will say a mini manuscript as to why they would like to attend the college. I would still do it, okay? When admissions is looking at applications and they see that you're doing more than the average applicant, they're going to choose you over the other student or the other prospect, because of the fact you've decided to go forward and you really are showing that you are definitely interested in doing this. So yeah, I would definitely do it. That's fine. A writing supplement is probably what, a paragraph in length, and sometimes they even have you write 3 pages as to why you would be a good fit for a college. Make no mistake, when you admit that you want to attend a college and you decide, I want to go and I want to meet this admissions representative, even online, excuse me, excuse me. So when you do this, understand they are looking at you and interviewing you, but you're also interviewing them. They need to prove to you that you deserve to be there and that they deserve to have you, right? It's the same thing with interviewing. When you interview for a job, a lot of people get nervous about them. I don't have a problem with interviewing anybody, because I am not only going to meet with them so that they can see me and see if I'm a good fit for them, but I want to know if they deserve me. Okay. And that's the same mentality you need to have when you're going to admissions, to look at them and to look at their programs and to decide whether or not, does this culture fit me? Do they deserve to have me on campus? That's what you need to ask yourself, and that's what you need to say. I mean, because I'll be honest with you, it's not a one-way street. Make no mistake, if we did not have students on campus, we would not have jobs. So they deserve you, okay? Well, they have to prove they deserve you, right? Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Miriam says, what is a great strategy in prepping students about college process? as sophomores? Well, okay, so you have a two-part question. Okay, a great strategy in prepping students about the college process as sophomores is just to keep doing the work that you're doing. Really dive into your high school classes. If you're high school sophomores right now, your goal is to start thinking about your future, okay? The day you enrolled into high school as a freshman, that was your goal. That's the first thing you start thinking about. What do I want to do beyond this? Because trust me, 4 years goes by really fast. Really, really fast. It does. How many, I mean, if you're all college sophomores, tell me, how fast did your freshman year go? I promise your life, if you blink, you'll be 40 years old. I remember the day I graduated from high school. I remember everything around me. I remember it like it was yesterday. And now I'm 52 and I'm a grandmother. So you want to take advantage of your high school days. You want to, do everything in your power to maintain your GPAs, make sure that you're doing everything with regard to researching your future, strategy for your, for your livelihoods. Now, how to get the ball rolling as 10th graders, college lists, prep tests, tours, etc. Well, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to do some research online, okay? I want you to think about what majors appeal to you and what you want to do in your future, okay? And then when you do that, I want you to request materials and literature from the colleges that you researched, okay? The reason why I tell you to do that is you want to look at it today, and then you want to do this again in your junior year. See if anything's changed, okay? Because, honestly, as a high school student, I went through so many different avenues as to what I wanted to do in my life, but I never really focused on one area. I never did. I mean, I was a cheerleader. I played basketball. I wanted to be a coach. Nope, that didn't work out. It was so many different things. So you want to make sure that you're, doing the research every single year. See if your mindset has changed. Something could have happened in your family or in your life where you've changed your mind. I mean, you might focus on something different. Every single year, you want to focus on the same things, and then I want you to see if your, mind has changed. And the reason being is, it may not be a booming career that you get into, but you might like it. It might be something you still want to do, and that's fine, but you want to make sure that this is something you still really want to dive into, okay? Prep tests. If I were you, I would look up Wonderlicks, and I would focus on doing some of those. A lot of colleges today are focused on Wonderlicks and SLEQ tests. They want to know if you can think on your toes. So what I can do is I can send you a link of the Wonderlicks. I can send them to Lena and she can forward them out, okay? And then that way you can kind of test your brain just to, see, what it is that you could do. And it is separated by career focus. So if you want to become a registered nurse, it's going to have, a Wonderlic test on there, and it should be, focused solely on those who are wanting to get into that field. And these assessments are just assessments. They're not judging you by any means, just to let you know. These assessments are based on the level of difficulty that, is necessary for you to be able to get through the program. If you are not a teachable student, then that Wonderlic will let them know. And it gives you a breakdown of what you did really well in and what you struggle in. And so you want to kind of focus on those numbers as well. Okay, and let's see, tours, stick with the virtual tours right now until you feel as though you're safe enough to go out because of COVID. I would not put yourself in harm's way because right now you're a sophomore. 2 years from now, when you're a senior, the pandemic should have subsided by then. But I would not put yourself in harm's way right now. I would just opt to, review everything online. Okay. I had my twins already request info from the schools they want to attend. Thanks. Okay, yes, and that is an amazing thing. Definitely do it. All mom and dads, I'm telling you, if you're telling your sophomores right now to start pulling information and literature, that is the right thing to do because they have to get poised. Their minds have to be poised to move into that direction, okay? Could I have the prep tests emailed to me also? You can actually pull them up online. I actually have access to send out assessments to my students, but I can't do that. But you can definitely, the link that I send to you, you'll be able to do it and you can focus on the field that you're interested in. Like if you're interested in becoming a vet tech or veterinarian, it'll have a specific test for you. Okay, so you can definitely, look at those through that website link. Okay, I'll send the URL to Lena. Thank you, Lena.
I think that's it for the questions. So thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. And yeah, thank you, everyone. Bye.
Absolutely.